So I tend to talk about cameras quite a lot on this channel, and most of the cameras I talk about are ones aimed at content creators. I give recommendations, etc. Now there is one particular camera that I kind of want to come back to, and that's this bad boy. This is the Sony A5100, and I've done a video on this camera before, quite a while back as one of my earlier videos. I did a full video reviewing why this thing was a fantastic choice at the time for use as a streaming camera. However, now I'm going to kind of touch on why this thing is possibly still here now in 2022 a fantastic camera to use kind of just overall as a content creation tool. Now, like I said, it's quite an old camera. It's actually been discontinued, and you probably can't get one of these brand new anymore. Now, if you do have one already, then this is still a fantastic tool, whether you're going to be using it for streaming or content creation or for YouTube videos, whatever it is. If you don't have this camera and are considering getting it, then, well, this video should tell you a little bit more about why I think this camera is still a very good contender, even today in 2022 as a content creation camera. I'm going to get right to those points after this intro. What's up guys, Catch24 back at your screens with another fantastic tech video, and today, yes, I am going to discuss the Sony A5100, but before I do, are you ever kind of stuck on trying to figure out where you are on YouTube? Like, you feel like you need a little bit more help. Your videos, you might need that little extra nudge to help improve your videos, to kind of help you get on the right track with your YouTube channel. Well, then TubeBuddy will be a fantastic tool to track your analytics, help you create thumbnails, and just manage your channel overall. Now, links to TubeBuddy are in the description box below, so if you do hit that link, then it does help my channel out a little bit. Now, back to the video. Sony A5100. Now, I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 main reasons why I think this camera is still fantastic to use as a content creation tool in today's day and age. Number 1 is size. It's nice, small, and compact. It's still an interchangeable lens camera, which means that you can take off the lens, replace it with any sort of lens that you want, and the size of it makes it great for taking out, using it for vlogging, setting it up. It's nice and discreet, whether you're going to be streaming with it, using it as a YouTube camera. The small form factor of this camera makes it very versatile, whether you're going to go hiking, whether you're going to go vlogging in the city, whatever it is you're going to be doing, and it's not going to add a massive amount of weight to your bag, and it's not going to tire out your hand, especially if you're going to be holding it out in front of you a lot whilst you're vlogging and walking around. Now, size in this case definitely matters because it's compact enough that you can carry it around anywhere while still giving you that high quality that you want. And that brings me around to point number 2, is the quality. The quality that this camera produces is actually really, really good. I still think that as a streaming camera, if you've got one or can get hold of one, as a streaming camera, this thing is absolutely fantastic. And even as a content creation camera or a YouTube camera, this thing can perform really, really good. It has 1080p up to 60 FPS, which is fantastic, which means you can still get some nice crispy B-roll shots. Or if you're going to be using it for vlogging or general YouTube content creation, then it still performs really well. And I'm going to prove that to you right now by switching into this camera. So I'm going to quickly swap that around and show you exactly what it looks like from the camera itself. So guys, this is what it looks like from the Sony A5100, and to be very honest, it's not bad at all. It is more than sufficient enough for 99% of users. I'm going to just zoom out a little because of the way that the lens is. There you go. That's amazing. I mean, I think that the quality here looks absolutely fantastic. Now, one thing to mention is that this camera does not have a built-in mic jack, which means that the audio you're hearing is from the camera itself. I can't attach an external mic to it, which is probably the one downside I would say of this camera, but it is quite old, so I'll give it that. And the audio doesn't really sound that bad from my experiences in the past of using this camera. So if you are going to be using it as a little YouTube camera setup like this, then it's not the end of the world. A little bit of post-production can probably fix the audio, just like I've done here. Now, if you want to see that this is actually the camera that I'm using, the Sony A5100, then here is the feed directly from, you guys can see, hi, this is the feed directly from my Canon EOS R6 of me filming myself with the Sony A5100. So there's your proof. And I've also got the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus here, which is attached to my Canon R6. So you can see that the audio that you hear now is from the Canon, and the audio you hear now is from the Sony A5100. So you can see that there is a clear difference. However, the difference isn't that massive that it's going to impact the overall quality of your content. So I'm going to kind of swap this back now because I do want to finish the rest of the video with this Canon R6 rather than Sony A5100, because I'm going to be holding that. So 3, 2, 1. So I'm back on the Canon R6, and yes, as you just saw, this thing has absolutely fantastic quality. If you're a YouTuber starting off and you've got access to this camera, then you can rest assured that it's gonna deliver in terms of the quality that you want from your videos. And it's not just video. This thing has 24.3 megapixels packed into it, which basically means that this thing is fantastic for photography too. I've seen fantastic images being produced with this camera, and you know, I've never been disappointed when taking any photos with it. So you can rest assured that whether you're using it for photos or videos, the quality is there. Now, point number 3 is price. Now, this can be a little controversial because I say price, but you got to think about availability as well. Back in the day, this thing could be picked up for about £400, $400, whatever it is. I picked this particular one up for £230. So depending on availability, you can grab one of these for relatively cheap. And this particular camera, this camera itself is in fantastic condition. So though it's used, it is in amazing immaculate condition and only for £230. So you can pick it up for really, really cheap now, depending on whether it's available, whether you can actually get your hands on one. I was lucky enough to be able to get my hands on one, so I have managed to get it because the old one that I had I sold, and then I got this one again. So it's a different to the one in my video that I showed before, if that makes sense. So the one I used to have is sold now, and this is a new one that I bought recently. Anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that if you can get hold of it, the price is fantastic. You know, instead of spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds on one of the newer model cameras, which pretty much does the same thing, you are better off trying to find one of these slightly older model cameras for a better price. And similar kind of cameras that have come out after this, such as the A6000 or the A6100, are also of a relatively decent price, producing very similar, if not slightly better quality than this camera. However, the A5100, I think, is just one of those models that it's going to stay in people's hearts for a long time, just because it is such a good camera. Now, the only cameras that come into my mind of a similar style that produce a similar kind of quality to this camera is a Canon M200. And even now, a brand new Canon M200 can put you down about £500–600, and a used one, if you're lucky, you'll get it for about £400, £450. So it's almost double the price of this camera. And I've done a whole comparison on the M200 versus the Sony A5100. Be it for streaming, I have done a comparison on them, and they're very, very similar. And I would say that the Sony A5100, in terms of its price, is the better deal if you can get hold of it. Now, one thing I do want to mention, a couple of things I want to mention, is I am not a big fan of Sony's user interface. I really dislike it. I hate the fact that you can't use the touchscreen to maneuver the interface. And there are other things here or there about Sony cameras that I just don't kind of like. Though that doesn't mean that I deny the fact that Sony cameras are absolutely fantastic. You know, in terms of video, some of the newer Sony cameras like the Sony A7S III is absolutely fantastic. The Sony A7 IV, amazing camera. If I could get my hands on those cameras to use and test and play around with, I would absolutely love it. However, I am a Canon user at heart, so I'm a little bit biased towards them. That being said, this Sony A5100 has to be one of my favorite Sony cameras that I've used. That being said, I've probably not used that many Sony cameras. But you know, looking at the quality of this camera, I can tell that the other cameras are going to be just as good. So there you have it, guys. Couple of reasons why I think the Sony A5100 still in 2022 is a fantastic camera to get and use for all of your content creation needs, whether it be streaming, YouTube, photography, whatever it is that you want to do with it. This is a nice little piece of kit, and it will definitely serve you well. I'm going to leave it at that, guys. If you did like my video, then make sure you hit that like button. And if you enjoy my content in general, hit that subscribe button. I can see that about 97% of you are not subscribed to my channel. Please hit that subscribe button. It does mean a lot that you guys are watching my videos. And if you want to see when my next video comes out, then make sure you hit that notification bell. Until then, if you want to see a full review of the Sony A5100 that I did before, then make sure you hit that link up there and check it out. Until next time, guys, this is Kai24 signing out.